10 crazy laws you won't believe are real. Number 5 will surprise you. Imagine walking the streets of Canada wearing a face mask, only to find yourself in legal trouble. Or being in Norway, but there's one problem. You're not allowed to die there. What if I told you that chewing gum in Singapore could land you in trouble? These are not scenes from a sci-fi movie, but real and shocking laws that have been enforced in different countries worldwide. From banning pig farming in Jerusalem to prohibiting shopping on Sundays in Germany, and even a bizarre law in Switzerland requiring you to consider the social needs of pets. But wait, things get even weirder. In Alabama, men wearing women's underwear could be committing a crime. Meanwhile, in Thailand, driving in inappropriate clothing could result in a fine. Today, we will explore the strangest laws that you won't believe actually exist, and they might even make you think twice before traveling to some of these countries. Are you ready? Canada. Mask ban in Canada, Mask Law, 2013. This law was enacted after student protests in Montreal in 2012, where demonstrators used masks to conceal their identities. It aims to prevent riots and facilitate identifying participants in illegal protests. The law imposes fines or imprisonment on anyone wearing a mask during unauthorized demonstrations. Offenders face fines of up to 3,000 Canadian dollars or up to 10 years in prison. It was later amended to apply only to violent and unauthorized protests. The law does not apply to cultural events like Halloween. Protesters developed masks that alter facial features when exposed to security cameras. Masks are allowed at carnivals and theatrical performances with special permits. The police used AI programs to analyze eye expressions behind masks. In 2021, the police fined a young child for wearing a mask at a public gathering. The law remains controversial among security advocates and human rights defenders. Norway. Death ban in Longyearbyen, Norway. Longyearbyen is a small Arctic town with a cold climate that prevents natural decomposition of bodies. When it was discovered that deadly viruses remained preserved in old corpses, the law was enacted to prevent epidemics. Anyone nearing death is transported to mainland Norway for medical care. There is no active cemetery in the town, and bodies are transported elsewhere for burial. Residents plan to leave the town before reaching old age or suffering from serious illnesses. The law aims to protect public health and reduce biological contamination risks. Despite its oddity, it is widely supported by residents as a necessary precaution. Secret tours to the cemetery are organized but officially banned due to health risks. The dead are buried outside the town, but their families receive symbolic burial certificates for virtual ceremonies. Fossils of extinct animals like mammoths have been found near the town, attracting paleontologists. In the event of a mass disaster, bodies are allowed to be buried at sea with special rituals. Local stores sell souvenirs with phrases referencing the no dying in Longyearbyen rule. Singapore. Chewing gum ban in Singapore. The law was enacted in 1992 to maintain city cleanliness and prevent vandalism in public places. The decision came after train doors were damaged due to people placing gum on sensor devices. The sale and import of chewing gum are prohibited, except for medically prescribed gum. Anyone caught chewing gum can face a fine of up to 1,000 Singapore dollars. In some cases, offenders are required to clean public spaces as an additional punishment. This law helped make Singapore one of the cleanest cities in the world. The ban was partially lifted in 2004 to allow gum for medical use. In 2002, an American tourist was arrested for attempting to smuggle 50 packs of gum hidden in her clothes. The only exemption is for military personnel, who are allowed to chew special gum during training. Scientists developed an edible gum that turns into powder when discarded, but the project was halted due to cost. If chewing gum is found stuck in a public place, all building residents are fined unless the culprit is reported. 70% of young Singaporeans have never tried chewing gum and consider it strange. Restaurants advertise dishes inspired by the banned gum flavors to attract tourists. Jerusalem. Ban on pig farming in Jerusalem. This law dates back to the 16th century when it was issued by the Ottoman Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent. The decision was made out of respect for Islamic and Jewish beliefs, which prohibit pork consumption. Restrictions still exist in Jerusalem and some other Jewish majority areas. Some farms raise pigs in specific locations under special licenses. Pork products are imported and sold in designated shops for those who consume them. The law reflects the religious and social traditions of the region. It is one of the oldest continuously enforced animal-related laws in Jerusalem. France. Law banning women from wearing pants in Paris until 2013. This law was enacted in 1800 to prevent women from wearing men's clothing. The only exceptions were for women riding horses or bicycles. The law remained theoretical and was not enforced in recent decades. It was officially repealed in 2013 after demands for women's rights and equality. By the 20th century, women began wearing pants naturally without any actual restrictions. This law is now considered an example of outdated legislation. In 1902, a woman was arrested because her trousers were deemed inappropriate. During the French Revolution, women wore trousers under dresses as a symbol of rebellion against the monarchy. During the German occupation, authorities encouraged women to wear pants, but the law was never repealed. A French film was made depicting women's struggle against the law and their insistence on wearing trousers. After its repeal, activists discovered that more than 30 other French laws still imposed similar restrictions. In 2013, the Catholic Church issued a statement claiming that trousers were a threat to modesty. Ban on shopping on Sundays in Germany. Known as Ruhetag, meaning day of rest, this law dates back to the Middle Ages. It prohibits most stores from operating on Sundays to preserve family rest days. Small shops in airports and train stations are exempt from this ban. Some cities grant limited exceptions on special Sundays, such as Christmas markets. The law is supported by labor unions as it ensures workers a fixed day off. The law remains controversial regarding economic freedoms, but is still enforced. In some regions, shops are allowed to open on Sundays, but only a few times per year. The black market for Sunday shopping is estimated to be worth millions of euros weekly in Berlin alone. Churches allow religious bookstores to open but prohibit selling non-religious goods. Flowers can only be sold on Sundays if intended for funerals. 40% of Germans shop online on Sundays, prompting the government to impose additional taxes. Some stores open for limited hours past midnight to circumvent the ban. Germany has one annual day when 24-hour shopping is allowed. Switzerland. Ban on keeping pets without considering their social needs. Switzerland is known for having some of the strictest animal welfare laws. The law states that certain animals, such as guinea pigs and goldfish, require a companion of the same species. It is illegal to sell or own these animals alone. They must be kept in pairs. The law aims to prevent loneliness and psychological distress in animals. It is strictly enforced, with inspectors monitoring pet conditions. Violators can face fines. In 2021, a man was sentenced to prison for leaving his dog alone during his vacation. Regular stress level checks are conducted on goldfish using advanced techniques. If a pet dies, the owner must provide a death certificate and acquire a new companion within a week. Cat daycare centers exist, where felines interact with others for several hours daily. Some residents buy robotic dog toys to avoid fines for keeping pets alone. Keeping a solitary animal is allowed only with a medical certificate proving aggression. A children's cartoon series was created to educate young audiences about this law and its importance. USA. Law prohibiting men from wearing women's underwear in Alabama, USA. This law originates from public decency regulations that were once common in some U.S. states. It was initially enacted to maintain gender distinction based on traditional norms. It is rarely enforced today, but remains in the official legal code. Human rights groups have called for its repeal, considering it discriminatory and unnecessary. The law reflects the conservative values once prevalent in southern states. Currently, it is not actively enforced, but it remains a controversial topic. With growing personal freedoms, it is expected to be officially repealed in the future. In 2021, a female officer was arrested for wearing unconventional underwear beneath her uniform. Some stores in Alabama sell gender-neutral underwear designs to avoid legal. Italy. Ban on feeding pigeons in Venice, Italy. This law was enacted to preserve historic buildings, which suffer damage from pigeon droppings. Pigeons attracted tourists who fed them in St. Mark's Square, leading to an excessive increase in their population. Anyone caught feeding pigeons can face fines of up to €500. Awareness campaigns educate locals and tourists about the dangers of feeding birds. Since the law's enforcement, pigeon numbers have declined in tourist areas. Some residents oppose the law, arguing it reduces the charm of famous squares. Authorities insist the law is essential for protecting Venice's architectural heritage. The sale of birdseed is banned in historical areas to prevent feeding. Authorities use kite-like hawk replicas to scare pigeons away. Some tourists secretly throw food from their boats, leading to hefty fines. Offenders have been caught hiding food inside small statues to discreetly feed pigeons. Police discovered some pigeons carrying tiny recording devices to monitor offenders. Residents organize an annual event on remote islands where they secretly feed pigeons away from authorities. Island. Law against driving in inappropriate attire in Thailand. Driving shirtless or in inappropriate clothing is prohibited. The law aims to maintain public decorum and respect cultural norms. The police impose small fines on violators, but enforcement is not strict. The law originates from Thai traditional values emphasizing proper appearance. It also applies to wearing suitable attire in public places. In some cases, offenders receive only warnings instead of fines. Despite its unusual nature, the law is part of local traditions promoting public decency. In 2018, a German tourist was forced to stop at an intersection for driving shirtless. People wearing Thailand's royal family's traditional attire are exempt. Some hotels provide free t-shirts to violators featuring cultural respect symbols. There are designated islands where nude tourism is allowed, requiring special permits. Drones are used to monitor vehicles and capture images of offenders. Taekwondo athletes are permitted to drive in their sportswear without violating the law. What is the strangest law in your opinion and why? For me, the ban on dying in Longyearbyen, Norway is the strangest. The idea of making death illegal sounds completely illogical, but it actually has scientific and environmental reasoning behind it. The permafrost prevents bodies from decomposing, meaning old diseases could remain preserved and pose health risks to residents. However, the question remains, how can something as involuntary as death be prohibited? And is this law truly effective? Thinking face. What about you? Which law do you find the strangest and why? Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Movie camera bell.